And the wife of Kilmar Abrego Garcia admits she filed a civil protective order against her husband 4 years ago. The Department of Homeland Security posted portions of Jennifer Vasquez Sora's protective order against him on social media yesterday. At the same time, the White House seized on the information as evidence to their claim that Abrego Garcia is a violent member of the MS-13 gang. Scripps News Deputy Political Director Joe St. George joins me now live from Capitol Hill. Joe, this detail from 2021 seems to play into White House narrative that Abrego Garcia is a bad guy. How much could it hurt his case?
Well, there's two sides of this, and it very much depends on your politics, I think, as to what side you're following, you're believing. You have one side saying that Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a family man who should be leading his family's prayers during this holy week of Easter. That was said at a recent rally in support of him this week in Maryland. Or you could be listening to the Trump administration, which is painting him as a gang member with a violent past. And what we saw with this court document, and it's important, right? We provide context here at Scripps News Group so you can understand all sides here. There is no dispute from the family that there was a protective order filed many years ago. But as attorneys have said in recent hours, as the wife of Mr. Garcia has said in a statement, that there was no conviction here, and that they had moved on from that in their marriage, became a stronger marriage as a direct result of what unfolded many years ago. So that's the context associated with this. But the Trump administration has been on a full-out press the last 24 to 48 hours, blaming anyone, including the news media, for suggesting that Mr. Garcia is this angelic figure. And we heard it repeatedly from the White House yesterday. Take a listen.
The Democrats and the media in this room have continually and wrongly labeled Kilmar Abrego Garcia as a Maryland father. There is no Maryland father. Let me reiterate. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member and foreign terrorist who was deported back to his home country.
Again, context matters, and we should be clear that the family of Kilmar Abrego Garcia says he is not a gang member. He is not a member of MS-13, and we journalists in Washington have seen no evidence to suggest that, at least presented from the Trump White House. What has been presented in the past is evidence from a confidential informant discussing Mr. Garcia. So this is very much the he said, she said background. Meanwhile, Mr. Abrego Garcia continues to sit in El Salvadorian prison cell, and there is no indication that that fact is going to change anytime soon. We talked 24 hours ago, Dan, of Senator Chris Van Hollen, the Democratic senator from Maryland, flying to El Salvador, hoping to meet with Mr. Garcia. That got nowhere yesterday. He flew there, did a press conference, did some social media videos, was able to meet with some government leaders, including the vice president, but the president of El Salvador wouldn't even meet with Senator Van Hollen. Senator Van Hollen asked to talk to Mr. Garcia. That request was denied. So this story continues to gain attention. More lawmakers are promising to visit El Salvador, almost thinking maybe there is the support. The bigger the delegation, maybe El Salvador's government won't be able to ignore their requests going forward. But this is something that's continuing to play out in the courts. The Trump administration has one view. Obviously, Senator Van Hollen, Kilmar Abrego Garcia's family, they have a completely other view as well, Dan.
Yeah, strong words there from the White House. Now, Joe, the judge who ordered Abrego Garcia's return indicated yesterday that some Trump officials are in contempt of court for violating the court order. What's been the reaction from the White House, and what might happen next?
Well, so we've got a few things brewing. One, I'm using the analogy of boiling water. You know, when you're making spaghetti and you're starting to see the bubbles and it's getting bigger and the bubbles are getting bigger. The water is really boiling. I mean, this is kind of where we are with the feud between the Trump administration and the federal court system. You have multiple federal district judges weighing in here, basically scolding the Trump administration and levying accusations that they're not following their directives. The most serious of these actually isn't the judge overseeing the Kilmar Abrego Garcia case, but the judge who was involved in the initial case involving the 1798 law that's being used to rapidly and quickly, swiftly deport individuals suspected of being Venezuelan gang members. Judge Boasberg here in Washington, D.C. has said in the last 24 hours that there is probable cause that members of the Trump administration may have violated a court order, and that he is prepared potentially to hold them in contempt of court. He's giving them a few days to present evidence to the contrary. This is in response to those flights that took off several weeks back, that Judge Boasberg ordered be turned around in midair and returned to the U.S. so that he can review the 1798 law to see if the Trump administration can use that law. Well, the Trump administration did not turn those planes around. They said afterwards that they believed the judge was outside his jurisdiction because the planes were in international waters. Obviously, Judge Boasberg disagrees. We'll see where this goes. It's not just Judge Boasberg hinting at this. The judge involved in the Garcia case has also hinted that maybe there could be some content going here as well. But typically what happens if a federal judge is finding someone in contempt of court, they would refer them for prosecution. Well, who would that referral go to? It would go to the Department of Justice, and we know how close the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, is with President Trump. She frequently speaks on this matter and is frequently in the Oval Office beside the president. But I think bottom line, the water's boiling, Dan, and this feud is continuing to escalate. It seems like there's a new development each and every day.
As you mentioned, we know the White House does not go down without a fight. Scripps News Deputy Political Director Joe St. George for us. Joe, thanks for your insights.